right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 2, where we are highlighting here on More to Life, PCOS Awareness Month. So I just found out that I said the wrong thing last week. It is polycystic ovarian syndrome, not ovary syndrome, ovarian syndrome. And we are choosing here on this YouTube channel to highlight and interview one of my good friends, family members, Nicolette Roberts. So thank you again for joining us and educating us on today and on the last episode. So if you didn't catch the first one, make sure you go back, like that video, comment on it, share it with your family members and friends. So today, we are going to divide this up into 2 parts. So the first part is all about educating those that might already have PCOS, might think you have it, or those who support those who have PCOS, or you might be totally new to this topic and might not even know what it means. So this is for you. And then the last part, we will zoom in and encourage those who are experiencing this themselves. So how are you doing, Nicolette?
I'm doing well. It's been a good day. It's been a busy day.
Upside down, don't you?
I love the fall decor. I love the fall. It's one of my favorite seasons. I love the fall. So I'm feeling great, and I love September. This weather is starting to cool down to me, but you know, I can just tell the difference. So I'm feeling pretty good today. I am.
That's good. So thank you again for joining us. We know you have a busy schedule, so this means a lot that you're taking time out to share. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So if you follow the mini series, this is my second mini series, so I'm no expert on this, but I'm having fun doing it. So the first one, we talked about infertility with Tiffany Green and Chandler Melton. And they talked about some things, what not to say to those who are experiencing infertility. And I think that's important to even do with PCOS. You talked about last week, it's something that's still kind of new to those who have it or new to the medical field. People don't really have it pinpoint like what to do and even the medications that are the best. But for those of us who are out here supporting those who have it, or you know of someone, it's just some things you just shouldn't say. And Nicolette and I have talked about, we've gone through some things in life, and it's like when you learn better, you should want to do better, right? So she is going to educate us on some things you probably don't want to say to someone that is walking this journey. So go ahead. You can take the floor.
So I just want to thank you again for having me on here today. And I'm going to start by saying I am not an expert when it comes down to polycystic ovarian syndrome. I am one that experiences, I suffer from PCOS as well, for the ones who didn't see the episode last week. So this is just some things from personal experience or things that I've heard being said to women, and even some things that I have said. And I'm going to be very honest and admit things that I have said that I realize this is not right to say. So the first thing I want to say,
before you get started with your list, to know Nicolette is to love Nicolette, okay? So she is very funny and goofy, even in times when you probably shouldn't be funny and goofy.
No.
She can keep you smiling and laughing. So this is how I know when she said some of the things I have too. And I know people a lot of times mean well. I think they just don't know what to say. So sometimes I've learned it's best not to say anything at all, but you're going to educate us today from your experience. So go ahead.
So for anyone that knows me, you all know I say all the wrong things. And so many, I can give examples, but I'm not going to today. But I say the wrong stuff, but I promise you deep down in my heart, I mean well. So like I said before, I have said, it's one thing in particular on this list that I've said myself. So I'm just going to give about three to five, something like that, examples of things that you shouldn't say to someone that's experiencing PCOS. These primarily relate to infertility, because that is one of the side effects that I discussed with you all last week. So the first one I talked about last week is losing weight. So a lot of people say if you lose weight, you'll get pregnant. And that's not necessarily true. In some cases, it's not about the weight gain or being obese that is causing you to not be able to have a child. So kind of be careful when you say something. And when I say you, I'm not talking directly to you,
Yeah,
I'm talking to all of the viewers. Or if you can look back and think, man, have I said that? Or could I be more supportive? You know, so don't say if you lose weight, you get pregnant.
And then another thing, do you think we should probably just leave the weight thing alone, period? Maybe just leave people alone.
You know something, I put up a post the other week where it was talking about why is it always like family members stop telling people they done gain weight. We know we done gain weight.
We know.
Look, some of us before the pandemic, but we're not gonna get into that today.
Witness, I know.
But you just never know, because sometimes it's not somebody just sitting up being greedy or whatever. It could be a hormonal imbalance. And you really have to be careful because that some people may be very sensitive to that. And some people have literally tried everything, bought certain shakes and signed up for gym memberships, personal trainers, and nothing is working for them. So you just have to be careful with that. But, you know, like I said, that's opening up a whole nother can of worms. So me and Taylor, you and I, we had this conversation where people, you see a couple where they've been married for, you know, a certain amount of time. It could be 2 years, 6 years, 10 years. And people ask, when are you going to start having kids? Don't ask that question. And the reason you shouldn't ask it is because it's none of your business. No, I'm just kidding. That's not why. It is really not your business.
It really isn't.
But it really isn't. But honestly, you never know how many people are trying to have children. And when you constantly remind them, I can't have kids. My mother keeps asking me, when am I going to have kids? My friends are asking me, and they don't know how many miscarriages I've had. They don't know how many times we've gone through different procedures and different techniques to have a child. People don't understand the seriousness of that and how it could really affect you. I'm sure physically, emotionally, just mentally. You know, I'm sure it's draining. So
and it's just common conversation. I'm guilty of this, and that's what we talked about this. And I'm like, I mean, well, it's almost like a conversation starter. Just don't. Unless they initiate, like that's probably not. Let's talk about anything else. You want to talk about work? Let's talk about work. Or you know, what's going on in your life?
You know.
But that's probably not, because like you said, even with married couples that already have children, or this is their first one, you just never know the situation. So
you never know the situation. And that's another thing. And I'm gonna get into that while I'm on it. I've been guilty of this. It says be blessed that you already have children. I've even said that before. And the thing about it, I have a daughter, but I would like to have more children in the future. You know, and it would be very hurtful if my husband and I, we're trying or whatever the case may be, and I'm not being successful, and someone says, well, you have her and I have my son as well, y'all have them, you know, y'all should be fine. But it's just not that simple. You can't, it's like you have no control over your body, and then saying that to someone is a constant reminder that that you're having difficulty producing a child.
And some women, I would like for this not to be a thing, but some women do feel as if they don't have children, they are like a detriment to society. Like they're just nothing because they don't have a child. And I think society has played a part in making women think like, if you have a spouse and children, you are this fulfilled creature.
That you have to have children. You have to have children. And I get it, because there are some women that have the desire. You get what I'm saying? And I think it's a natural thing as us being a woman, and men as well. I don't ever want to leave out our men. That they have that desire. But I feel like society has painted a lot of pictures on a lot of things as saying this is the way it needs to be. It needs to be just like this. No, it doesn't. Your story is not going to be the same story as everyone else's, and that's okay. You know. So another one, if you just stop trying, it'll happen. That's common as well.
Okay.
And you making
Yeah.
that face like, yeah,
Yeah.
I said that, or
Been there. Yeah.
And honestly, the thing about it, if you said these things to people, you're not a bad person.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
You were only trying to make conversation, and so, in some cases, people have stopped trying and got pregnant.
Right.
They became pregnant after not trying anymore. But it's like you're coming with good intentions, but someone that's experiencing PCOS, if you have never experienced it, you really just wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, if you haven't had any infertility issues, you really wouldn't understand. But I encourage everyone to do your research, just to try to be supportive. If you have a friend, if you have a spouse, or a child, or a mother, or anyone who's having this issue, just to do this research, so you will not insult them. You know, the holidays coming up, we're gonna see our family members. Don't ask those crazy questions.
Those weight gain conversations.
So we just want to make sure that you kind of like wait a minute and think, like,
Yes.
Should I ask them? They haven't had kids. Why haven't y'all had kids? Don't ask that type of question. You know, just don't, because you just never know what the person is dealing with.
Right. Very good information.
And then lastly, because I know we're gonna move to the next one.
Fine.
I noticed. Now I had never heard this one before, but as I was looking up some examples, why don't you just adopt? That's been that's
Okay.
something that has been common even with some of my friends.
Okay.
You know, where people ask, why don't you just adopt? You know, people try to give you the right answer. There's no right or wrong answer. Us that are dealing with, for the ones that are dealing with PCOS or infertility, you don't want to hear that either. You know, women want to have their own children. It doesn't make them feel better by saying adopt. And I think adoption is a great thing. It's wonderful. There are so many children out there that need that love and need those homes. But honestly, people really just kind of need to kind of mind their own business. I don't want to say that without being rude, but honestly, just stay in your lane, you know. Yes. I don't know how to put it, but as family members that love family and that are not, you know, trying to cause confrontation or anything like that, just keep those comments in mind so you won't hurt someone that you truly love.
Yes. And that's very good to say. Like we know at the heart, now some people are probably just rude, but the people that I usually deal with, I think they mean well. It's just a lot of times the delivery too. You just have to be careful and sensitive to what someone may be going through. I think that's great. Anything else? Did you have one more?
I think that was everything. I think I hit everything.
Okay, cool. So that's the what not to say portion of this episode. And moving on to the encouraging aspect. And I wanted Nicolette to do this in particular because she is a very good encourager. She's someone you want on your team. If you don't have a Nicolette, get you a Nicolette, okay? She will boost you when you don't even need to be boosted. So I appreciated that. And I feel like she has that gift, and that's why I wanted to have this segment. She has a gift of making you feel like, oh, I can. If I have PCOS, okay, she's doing this. She's rocking this. I can do it. So this is the part that I'm looking forward to the most. So the question that I gave her, one of the questions, is who is someone or what is something or somewhere that keeps you encouraged during your journey? Because you've been going through this since you were younger. So
I've been going through this since I even knew what it was.
Right, right, exactly. So you've had time to process and decide like, okay, what do I need to surround myself with? Or who do I need to surround myself with in order to help me get through?
So for me, I would say my biggest support would be my family and my friends. I have some friends that when I was first diagnosed, I was younger. Like I said, I really didn't know what it was.
Right.
But over time, I noticed that I had certain symptoms, but I had friends that would support me, be there for me, you know, help me out when I was feeling, you know, kind of down or sad. Right. And just knowing that I have that that support has been great. And it's interesting to me because I got diagnosed when I was in college, but that was in 2015. But even here recently, within the last 2-3 years, I've had friends that have recently been diagnosed.
Wow.
And they're just like, I had no idea. And it's crazy because I've had more and more people that they're like, I just got diagnosed with this. And I'm serious. This was something that I was dealing with by myself for years. And now to know that so many of my friends and colleagues or people, you know, that are my age or not even older, some even younger, I'm thinking, what is it? What, you know, because they don't have a specific cause. It's not specific cause. It's it's an unknown cause. So it's kind of like in my mind, so I research a lot. I'm thinking, what all did we do back in the day?
What could we have done different?
Was it those Flintstone vitamins? Like
I know. We all ate them.
But seriously, I'm thinking like, how do we all have this?
Yes.
And we have this issue going on. So it just makes me wonder. Right. And I've yet to figure that answer, you know. So with that, I also do a lot of research. You know, being in public health, it is full of research. That's pretty much, it's not just what public health is, but it deals with a lot of research. And for me, since I'm experiencing this, since I'm having these issues, I have a daughter now. So for me, there's a chance she may have PCOS because I have PCOS, you know. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, I just hope and pray that she doesn't have to deal with the things that I'm dealing with. I just don't want her to have those same issues, even though she's little. My daughter is little. But when you love your child and you just being a mother or whatever the case may be, your mind, your instincts is just, you just think years from now, you know. And even with me starting as young as I did, I don't want her to have to go through that. So I try to get as much research and be prepared, you know, just in case that happens. And not even to her, but, you know, to anybody else that I know. So, you know, my support would primarily be my friends, family members, loved ones, and doing a lot of research. There are some, I can't think of her name. It's one girl that, and I really can't think of her name, that I follow on Instagram that kind of does like PCOS awareness, but she does it like year round. That's something that I've been thinking about doing myself. Yeah. But if you know me, my schedule is already busy. So before I commit to that, I want to make sure I can actually give my all into doing that as well. But there's a girl on Instagram where she kind of gives like daily posts and inspirational posts for people that are suffering with PCOS. And if I get her name, I'm gonna I can't think of it off the top of my head. Yeah. So I can post it in the comments on the video or something like that. So yeah.
So good. So family, friends, in particular, were they just reaching out to you randomly, or was it just them just listening to you vent? What did that look like? So those of us who are supporting those who have PCOS, we can know how we can do better. Yeah, so pretty much reaching out. If you know someone that is that has recently got diagnosed, when you have PCOS, and this is one thing I didn't cover last week, one of the side effects can be depression. I have days where I feel so down. And I thank God for my friends, and I thank God for my husband, because I just have days where I just, you know, I don't want to do anything. You know, my mom, she's always kind of been like, well, Nicolette, you got to pull yourself out. You know, even my best friends are always telling me, you got to pull yourself out. So it's just like, for me, being able to be there just to encourage me has been very helpful. Yes. Those friends that check in and, you know, and see, well, how you doing? Just pretty much check. The best thing to do is check on those loved ones. Check on the ones that are having these symptoms, and that, you know, if you have someone, maybe you have a daughter that you may feel might even have PCOS and haven't been diagnosed, encourage them, you know, to go get tested and get the blood work done just to see if they have those high testosterone levels or whatever the case may be. Just, you know, try to be that
listening ear.
Yes.
And be there to support, because there's nothing that you can do to change this.
Right.
But you can make the journey a little bit easier by being very sensitive to their needs.
I love that. And I know, like, people say, like, oh, we live in an oversensitive population. Okay, yeah, some people are overly sensitive, but I feel like everything you said is just being a good human being. Just be there for people. And I appreciate the friendships that I have and family members I have the older I get, because like you said, it doesn't take much to just check in every now and then and check on people. And I think that's good for not only PCOS, but it's a lot of other things that people are going through. And I think I've noticed it more during this pandemic, like being isolated, more than usual. People are just having a hard time. So check in.
They really are. And that's
in.
one thing about me. I've always been that friend. I even check in on someone, as crazy as this may sound. I have friends that I haven't talked to, or well, let's say seen in years, literally years, but I still reach out. I still try to see, because you just never know what a person is going through, what a person is dealing with. And that just goes for anybody. If you, not even somebody just dealing with PCOS, that goes for anybody. But you never know what one phone call, how it could change a person's life. Mm-hmm. So if you ever feel in your heart, man, I haven't talked to this person, I need to check on them. Or, and my mind just kind of went off, because I just thought about a friend that I had, unfortunately, that died a few years ago. Yeah. And I think I accidentally called them. They called me back, and I was just like, I was in the middle of something. I said, I'm gonna call them tomorrow. And they died that night. And it was just like, in my mind, I'm just like, you know what? Never put stuff off, because you just never know. Right. So for me, I always try to, keep in touch with people, just see how you're doing, just send in some love. I always teach Nadia, be kind. Yeah. That's just it. Be kind.
Yep. Yes. Very good. See, this is why I tell you, you need a Nicolette on your team. Okay. This is good. So how we'll end today, the last question is, what is some advice that you would share with a woman who is experiencing PCOS? So you've done a fantastic job giving your expertise and sharing your experience, but is there anything that you haven't shared thus far that you feel like someone needs to hear? If you could reach back and tell your younger self something, what's something?
So for anyone that's experiencing PCOS and that's watching this, I just want you to know, from Nicolette to you, you are not alone in everything that I mentioned, the physical effects, the mental effects, everything. You are not alone. And I just want you to know, if you feel like you're alone, maybe join a Facebook group. Feel free to reach out to me just to have some encouragement. I feel better once I found people that was going through the same thing as me. Yeah. It kind of gave me that feeling of, okay, I can get through this. I can do this. Right. So just knowing, I just want you to know that you are not in this by yourself, no matter how hard it may get. Even if you don't know me and you're watching this video, I pray daily for anyone that's suffering with PCOS. I pray that they find a cure. If I had a way to do it, or whatever, if I had a way, I would. But seriously, I just want you guys to know that you are not alone. And for my younger self, if I could go back, they have the little videos now where people's talking to themselves. I would just tell my young self, to be patient. Everything is in God's timing, and it's going to get better after a while. There are other options out there now. Like I talked about last week, is the diet, and and I think in time, research is they're gonna continue to get more information over time. So I would just tell my younger self just to be patient, and it's gonna be okay.
Good, very good. I love this. This is great. And I hope that this is helping someone. We've gotten great feedback already from different ladies. And like you said, it's some ladies on Instagram. I have no clue who they are, but they too were like, this is good stuff. And I'm thankful that we do have the power of technology where you can impact the world, or even if it's just one person, that's, I feel like you've done well. So thank you for sharing. And you made a post, I want to say that was earlier this year, but my years and months are like, I don't know what even today is. But I want to say it was earlier this year, and mentioned about PCOS, and I was just proud because Nicolette, although she is the encourager, she don't really like put her stuff out there. Like, you know, she kind of just be low key, and my circle will know or whatnot. But I was proud of you to make that stand, and the amount of ladies that you said have talked to you, and so imagine what this video could do. So I'm excited for all the future endeavors that may come your way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just thank you so much for that. That was my goal. It's pretty much to spread that awareness and just help people to understand. And God, he put that on my heart to post, because I don't get really personal with my personal life.
Right.
And some people consider it something to be embarrassed about, but for me, it's not, because I understand what all I have gone through. And I just want to be able to encourage.
Yes. Very good.
So I thank you so much for the opportunity and having me on More to Life.
Problem. And we hope to have her back in the future, because she has more knowledge to share with, even outside of PCOS. So
outside of PCOS.
Yeah. I love to hear and learn from her. So if you're watching this video, make sure you like, comment, and share. Share it with your family, your friends, someone you know that's going through this, someone who wants to be educated, like me. This is how this all started. I wanted to learn more. So make sure you share this video. Watch it, rewatch it, send it, whatever you have to do. And we want to thank you again, Nicolette, for joining us today. And we'll see you guys on next week.
All right, have a good one.